You might believe you can tell when a woman is developing feelings for you, but the reality is you probably can't. Because when her emotions start to deepen, she rarely announces it. Instead, she conceals it beneath composure, humor, or even distance. And that's exactly where most men lose their way. They focus on what's said while missing everything being communicated in silence. What you're about to understand will shift how you interpret every interaction you've had with women. There are hidden signals, psychological, emotional, even subtle energetic cues that reveal when she's already falling for you. Even when she's trying to suppress it, you'll begin to notice the small changes, the shift in her tone, the softness in her energy, the honesty in her eyes that contradicts her words. Because love doesn't always make noise. Sometimes it expresses itself quietly, only visible to someone perceptive enough to recognize it. Once you learn to see these signs, you'll stop pursuing the wrong connections and finally recognize the right ones. A woman who conceals her feelings isn't distant. She's cautious. She's guarding something meaningful, waiting to see if you're someone she can trust with it. Stay with this until the end, not just to better understand women, but to understand emotional depth itself. Because once you grasp what lies beneath her silence, you'll never misinterpret love again. This isn't a tactic, it's truth, and it will change how you see attraction, revealing why the quietest moments often carry the strongest meaning. You can always sense when a woman is starting to fall, not through her words, but through what she can't fully hide. Her silence begins to communicate in ways language never could. It's subtle, restrained, yet powerful enough to shift the entire dynamic between you. Most men overlook this. They wait for clear confirmation, for something obvious. But real emotion rarely announces itself so directly. Often it shows up in fleeting moments, tiny, almost invisible signals that only someone emotionally aware will catch. When her feelings begin to grow, her body and emotions reveal more than her words ever will. Her gaze lingers just a second longer. But when you notice, she looks away. Not out of disinterest, but because she's been seen in a moment she wasn't ready to expose. That brief pause, that shift in eye contact, the tightening of her lips. It's a reflex. You've touched something real, and her instinct is to retreat, not reject. Women don't fear love itself, they fear what comes with it. For many, emotional connection carries weight. It involves vulnerability, surrender, and the possibility of losing control. So instead of openly expressing how she feels, she communicates in layers through tone, presence, and behavior. When she hesitates before replying, softens her voice, or recalls something you mentioned weeks ago, these aren't coincidences. They're subconscious efforts to connect. Her heart is trying to speak while her mind tries to stay in control. This is where many men miss the truth. They seek direct answers, asking if she likes them, if she's interested. But the answer is already there in how she treats you differently from everyone else. If you pay attention, you'll notice her energy shift around you. Her body relaxes. Her laughter becomes more genuine. Her focus sharpens. She listens more closely, as if your words carry a different kind of weight. That's not politeness. That's emotional investment. When a woman is falling for you, her silence becomes meaningful. Every pause, every glance, every tonal shift carries intention. She's not testing you, she's feeling you out, trying to determine whether her emotions are safe in your presence. That's why her behavior can seem inconsistent. One moment she's warm and open, the next she pulls back. It's not manipulation, it's hesitation. She's caught between wanting to open up and needing to protect herself. To truly understand her in this phase, you have to listen beyond what's spoken. Real listening isn't waiting to respond, it's being present enough to sense what isn't being said. One of the biggest mistakes men make is assuming silence equals indifference. In reality, silence often means she's overwhelmed, not by confusion, but by emotion. She's processing feelings her heart already recognizes, but her mind hasn't fully accepted. This is where emotional intelligence sets certain men apart. A man who understands this doesn't rush her or demand clarity. He doesn't grow frustrated when she hesitates. Instead, he remains calm. He creates an environment where she feels safe enough to open up. Because when a woman feels emotionally secure, her silence turns into trust. And trust is where genuine love begins to grow. For many women, falling in love isn't just emotional, it's deeply personal. It can shake their sense of identity, bringing up past experiences, fears, and unresolved emotions. So when she becomes quiet, looks away, or changes the subject to hide her reaction, she's not avoiding you. She's processing herself. She's experiencing something she can't fully control. And that can feel more intimidating than exciting. In those moments, your role isn't to push or fix anything, it's to be present, to hold space without pressure, to show her through your energy that her emotions are safe with you. When she feels understood on that level, she no longer needs to hide. Her silence becomes honesty. Her eyes speak clearly. Her energy reveals everything. So the next time she goes quiet, don't assume distance. Look deeper. What seems like stillness might be her strongest expression. When you learn to understand that kind of silence, you stop missing real connection. Because love doesn't always speak, it often waits quietly, hoping you'll notice. When a woman begins to act distant or less responsive, many men assume she's losing interest. But the reality is often more complex. When she pulls away while emotionally drawn to you, it's usually self protection. It's not about rejecting you, it's about managing what she feels. Emotional attachment means vulnerability, it means risk. And for someone who's been hurt before, that can feel overwhelming. If you view her behavior through understanding instead of frustration, everything becomes clearer. That slight delay in her replies, her sudden busyness, it's her attempt to create space, to regulate the intensity of her emotions. Women often sense emotional depth before they consciously accept it. When her feelings grow, her mind steps in to protect her. She begins analyzing your actions, questioning intentions, recalling past experiences. And when that internal noise becomes too strong, she withdraws, not out of desire, but out of caution. This is where many men misinterpret things. They chase harder, seek reassurance, or demand clarity, unintentionally amplifying her fear. In truth, when she becomes distant, she's assessing emotional safety. She's asking herself if she can trust you with her vulnerability. And how you respond matters more than anything. She doesn't need intensity, she needs stability. She needs to feel that you remain grounded even when she isn't. When you stay calm, patient, and consistent, you create the very thing she's searching for: safety. And safety dissolves fear more effectively than any words ever could. Fear often disguises itself as control. She may appear distant, but internally, she's overanalyzing everything. The paradox is this: her fear exists because she already cares. Indifference doesn't create anxiety, connection does. Women don't fear love, they fear unsafe love. They fear giving their heart to someone who won't handle it with care. So when she pulls back, stay steady. Don't mirror her distance with coldness or react emotionally. Continue showing up in a grounded, respectful way. Consistency builds trust, and trust is what allows her to let her guard down. Emotional strength isn't about dominance, it's about stability. It's the ability to remain centered when things feel uncertain. Every woman who's experienced heartbreak carries emotional defenses. When you meet her, she may not be ready to lower them immediately. Don't rush that process. Beneath that guarded exterior is someone who simply wants to feel understood. When she creates distance, remember, it's not about pushing you away, it's about seeing if you'll stay. Her hesitation isn't rejection, it's a reflection of how much she hopes this time is different. Stay grounded, stay present, stay consistent. Because when she realizes your energy doesn't fluctuate with hers, her fear begins to fade. And that's when everything changes. When a woman hides her feelings, it's not manipulation, it's communication. And how you respond determines whether you ever see the truth behind it. She's observing you, not when things are easy, but when they're uncertain. She wants to know who you are when she's not giving you reassurance. She's protecting something valuable, her trust, and she's watching how you handle discomfort. Do you become impatient? Do you withdraw when she does? Do you react emotionally when she pulls back? In those moments, she isn't expecting perfection. She's looking for safety. Most men respond to uncertainty by chasing harder or giving up. Both reactions come from insecurity. But emotional maturity means staying grounded regardless of her behavior. It means being steady when things feel unclear. When she hides her feelings, she's reflecting her inner conflict. She wants connection, but fears exposure. If you respond with frustration, she retreats further. But if you remain calm, present, and confident, you send a powerful message. She doesn't need to hide. You're not there to fix her emotions. You're there to handle them without making them about you. That's what builds trust. And trust, not attraction, is what makes her fall deeply. Attraction is natural, but safety is what sustains it. When she goes quiet, she's watching your response. Do you stay patient or do you react? Do you give her space while remaining available? Every reaction you have reveals your emotional character. True strength in relationships isn't about control, it's about emotional leadership. It's guiding the connection with stability, not force. When you remain composed, you bring clarity to uncertainty. You show her what safety feels like, not by words, but through consistency. If she's hiding her emotions, it's often because she's learned that expressing them isn't safe. So when she encounters someone who doesn't pressure her, but instead provides calm, steady presence, it feels unfamiliar, yet deeply reassuring. Emotional strength isn't about being detached, it's about being grounded when things aren't. The man who understands this doesn't chase love. He creates the conditions for it to grow. So when a woman seems distant, remember, it's not always about you. It's often about what she's afraid to feel. Your role isn't to force her out of that space. It's to become someone she no longer feels the need to hide from. You don't earn her love by demanding it. You earn it by being a place where she can finally feel at ease. And when she realizes your energy remains steady, even when hers doesn't, everything shifts. She stops testing, she stops hiding, she starts trusting. And when a woman trusts you with her emotions, she offers something deeper than love. She gives you access to her true self. So remember, the real test isn't whether she says how she feels, it's whether you can understand her when she doesn't.